That's right, let's go. Yes. Yes. Oh, I've missed that theme, man. Look at this. Thinks. As expected of the Phantom Troop. They're up to date. Huh? He speaks? Ah. Meteor City, right? Look at the smile on his face. It might not be much, but it's home, and home is always special. It's an interesting dynamic here. Bombs have no effect. Okay. Interesting attire. Ooh. The council, eh? Oh. Mutated. How though? Huh. Good question, but I think this is the new form. Yeah, mutated. How though? The queen's not around to give birth anymore, so... Interesting bit of insight there. You know, you can see that they're respected here. Whoa. So someone's already... Oh, that looks kind of beautiful, to be honest. Paradise. Zazan! So does Zazan figure out how to make soldiers? I mean, she did, clearly. I mean, they did show her stinger just now. Zazan's been... Is it? It is, but you know, she stung Pokal. So this is like a newly developed ability, perhaps. Perhaps Zazan was still growing? Oh god. Yeah, that's beautiful. The sexy stinger of rebirth. Yeah, Zazan's grown a bit as well, of course. She looks a little bit different, even in the face. Yeah, pretty much. Of course. This is a good chance, actually. Pike, you son of a bitch. Ha! The joy of coming. Yeah, she looks different. Okay. Oh my god, this one. No guns this time? Oh, the bandages come off. Okay. Okay. Almost kind of like a ghoul. And the boxing gloves? He's got Muay Thai shorts on. Ooh, look at this. Bonoleno. Ah. Oh, okay, so they get those holes.
その穴からは大きさ、形状、動きの強弱で多様な音を出すことができる。鳴らす音色が美しいほどより高級な精霊が降りてくると。
I love that. I love that idea.
神と同格化され、長老以上の発電力を持つ。メロディーを戦闘力に変える。バトレカンタービレット。
カンタービレット。New music?
今の一撃、本当に一族とやらの誇りを込めたのか。
Hold on, there's a bit of
撤回はしなくていい。所詮獣のざれ言。俺の心には響かない。
It is, isn't it? Jupiter by Gustav. I'm pretty sure it's kind of, and they have history of doing this. Incorporating classical music. Here it is again. It's a different arrangement of it. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, that's Jupiter for sure. They've sampled it. The homie Shalnark. Even that, he's so calm about it, right? How cute. He's got kind of like a controller.
俺の能力が条件を満たしても発動しないのはすでに別の能力者によって操作されているからっていうかリモコン持ってるし
And that. Go on, Shalnark.
全然抜け出せない
Ooh.
仕方ないな
Oh boy. No choice?
あんまり気乗りしないんだけど
ありのくせに難しい言葉知ってんな。じゃあお言葉に
Beautiful arrangement of this as well.
パンチでいいの？
Are you sure?
15ってとこか。4、5、6。
Oh, are they landing right now as he's saying it and it's gonna kick in?
11、12、13。
Yeah, that's kind of unsettling, isn't it?
15。
Oh shit. Man, the music in this anime.
腕を回すほどパンチ力が増大する。
Okay then.
サイクロトロン。
Cyclotron, nice. It's kind of similar to Gon and Uvogin, right?
回す数半分でもよかったな。相変わらずさじ加減がよくわ
But
かる。
again, it's not the most practical, you know, to crank it.
こっちに行くか。恋の
Of course. Ha. Love that. This is just so much fun, man, just to have him back. It's perfectly timed as
この
well.
ままだとどうなるの
His smile.
女王様のため働く。大して今までの人生と
Huh.
変わらないだろう。
How about that?
ある意味そうだね
It is?
だけど大きく違うのは従う相手だな好きでもないやつの言いなりになるなら死んだ方がマシ
口しか動かせないんだもんね。
両手の指と
Oh boy, there's your mistake.
さてと、そろそろ操られる？本当に死なれても困る。
Shalnark's always in control. That's just his.
俺さ戦う時いつもアンテナ2本持つんだよねこんな時のため
But
早いものが
he did say he'd rather not.
自分にアンテナを。
Oh.
敵確認しました。します。
Whoa. Those are like Gon's eyes from a few episodes ago. Sorry, not a few episodes, last episode. Oh. Holy shit.
ミッションコン
Super Saiyan over here.
自動操作ボード解除します。
Ah.
電源を切ります。
もう来てるや
Ooh.
23日筋肉痛でまともに
Okay, there's certainly a price.
だから嫌なんだよなこのモード強くはなるけど反動が半端ないし何にも覚えてないからい
Ah.
まいち達成感ないしね
Ah. So it's interesting, you know, for someone that's got so much self-control, he completely loses control there. The delivery of that scene was a little
絡め取られたら逃げる術はない。
Oh, interesting. All of them have it.
女王はどこか。
喜びなさい。
笑えない冗談だ。
冗談？
How dare you disrespect the queen?
きついお仕置きが必要ね。
所詮獣のざれ言。
じゃあお言葉に。
Wow.
俺さ、戦うときいつもアンテナ2本持つんだよね。
Ah.
フェイタンの
Oh, right. Tracking them, eh?
横取りしようかな。
ちょっとお嬢ちゃん。
See?
こっちおいで。
Even he thinks it's a girl. And he didn't deny it.
僕、急いでるんだけど。
Yes. Graceful.
何それ。
紙吹雪。それ。
Ah, one stuck, so one's all that's needed, eh?
気になってんの。
Zolodic excellence. As expected.
僕のセンスは紙製だよ。
Hell yeah, man. Look at this. Most impressive. Again, as expected, it was Zolodic.
次は右腕だね。
Umbrella, yeah, I'm surprised as well, man. Look at this. Special. Oh. Pulled a goddamn sword out of it. I guess the handle's a sword.
よし。
仕込みの
Jesus. Look at her.
隠すのが好きなの坊や。
Boy. Whoa. Wow. Love the presentation there. Ooh, I just got chills.
攻め続けるんじゃないの。
Wow. I was not expecting this, but this is like really,
そう阻止できるんだろう。
really fascinating. It reminds me of the Mines of Moria, the massive pillars. Here it comes. Holy shit. Oof. Rest easy, Ponzu.
恐れて生き絶える虫けらの死に様にふさわしいだろう。
Careful, careful.
故郷流星街に救う
No!
キメランドを倒すため幻影序団の戦いは続く。
See, that right there feels like the perfect treat. You know, it truly felt like, okay, here, have some of this. You know, before they're proper into the final phase of, the Chimera Ant arc, right? I mean, this is a part of it essentially, right? I mean, I think it's actually playing a key role here as well in terms of kind of depicting, the impact, the immediate impact of the spread of the Chimera Ants, and you see that Zazan's done all right for herself, right? But yeah, essentially you get my point. The main, I suppose the main course of it, of the final phase is the setup I got in the last episode, right? The pairs up against the royal guards, and then of course setting all of that up so you can get that encounter, Meruem against the chairman, right? That's the big one, of course. But I feel like this actually makes so much sense to bring in the Phantom Troop in this capacity because, like I said, I think episodes ago at this point, this allows it. This allows you to bring in some of that ensemble cast, that incredible ensemble cast that they've established, Togashi's established at this point and showcased as well, of course, in the York New City arc for the Phantom Troop specifically. Though, of course, had scattered members here and there even before the York New City arc, Hisoka being one of the sleepers. And of course, I got Machi as well in Heaven's Arena. But yeah, I think this is perfect. The perfect chance to bring some of these characters back in, right? And to illustrate just how dangerous the threat is, of these Chimera Ants that have spread out now, right? I mean, it didn't feel like it was a breeze for all of them. I mean, some of them really did kind of go through their opponents, but some of them, you see Sharnlark had to kind of get out of a situation, though. At no point did it feel like he's in deep trouble or anything. Sharnlark just gives me that aura, pardon the pun, I suppose, of someone that's always got the answer, always in control. Though, this plan B, this last resort, something he doesn't like to really tap into. This aspect of it, or this ability that he has, autopilot, I believe, it's really interesting because, there he's not in control anymore. Like I mentioned during the episode itself. So I thought it's an interesting ability to give to someone like Sharnlark. But again, it is something of a last resort because he knows there's a bit of a hefty price to it. And there's that aspect of it as well, just kind of becoming this unstoppable force, right? For that target, for a specific target, right? And he also stated that he doesn't remember any of it, as he kind of, tells the audience essentially. And, that's the reason I kind of said the scene, the presentation of the scene is kind of like, because, who exactly is he talking to? If you really look at it, he's kind of talking to himself, right? But it just happens to be one of those cases, I suppose, right? Because if he doesn't kind of explain it out loud at that moment, it's not going to make sense for anyone to randomly, explain it later. So you kind of have to take the hit at that point and just kind of let him, actually just think out loud, kind of talk to no one. But I love that moment as the little, Chimera ant, the manipulator, the one who's got his own little, controller. He tells him, you're just going to become a slave, right, to the queen. But ultimately a slave. And it's not going to be too different from your life right now at the moment. And, the thing is, Sharnlark actually found that a little bit interesting because, there's some truth to it, in a sense, like he said as well. But the thing I loved about that response is I'd rather die than to listen to someone I don't even like. But given Sharnlark's personality, the most endearing personality, essentially. I don't know how anyone could possibly not like Sharnlark, He's just so cheery and he's just so, I don't know, he just kind of enjoys life, right? And he's figured it out because this is a person who most definitely knows how he wants to live life. And if there's any possibility, any notion of not getting a chance to live it in that manner, he'd rather die, and that's why I found the contrast so interesting in terms of his plan B, right? And also, his eyes, I noted that they kind of reminded me of Gon's eyes, right? That's an unforgettable moment. Those eyes, that frame from the last episode, right? Just that look at Gon, right? And the hyper detail in the lines of the face as well. I don't know. Just something about that moment really made me think about Gon as well. And, then of course, following that up, you see the unstoppable force that Sharnlark becomes in that moment. But I feel like I could see something similar down the line for Gon as well, And of course, in addition to Sharnlark, you've got some of these other members as well, right? So good to see them. So good to see them. I love their specific, brand of banter. It's just so enjoyable. It's so, I don't know, authentic, I just love, I said it before as well in the York New City arc, but I just love this idea of an ensemble cast or a group that really feels like a group that's been together for some time now, right? That's the reason it feels so authentic. The banter feels so engaging, be it Phaeton and Finks, be it some of the other members that might not be here at the moment, or at least a part of this group, people like Machi and Nobunaga and Franklin and Kortopi, and of course it's Krollo and Hisoka and that whole thing. It's interesting to kind of think about that. Has that kind of been taken care of at this point? The Nen Exorcist. It's been quite a bit of time since then. I'm kind of answering my own question because at one point you have Finks saying that, whoever beats the queen first becomes the interim boss. So at this point, of course, they haven't been in contact with Krollo. And of course, as he said that, it kind of cuts to Kaluto, doesn't it? Our other Zoldyck that's on display, right? And it's quite the showcase. It's quite the showing, isn't it? It's quite the showcase for many of them, actually, all of them, especially the ones that are kind of stepping out for the first time in terms of, really kind of getting to flex their abilities. You think of someone like let me take another shot at it. Sorry. Bono Lenov, right? Bono Lenov. Close. I think I'm close. I mean, it's an incredible showing for him. Hell, I even got quite a detailed backstory, So, I certainly appreciate that. And, even the backstory. I really loved all of those elements of the tribe he comes from, but just the customs of the tribe and how they fight and how music is incorporated. And actually, it's more than just being incorporated. It's a crucial component of their, fighting abilities. I just love this idea of music being such a respected component of their tribe, right? And the buildup of their, fighting system. And that's been passed down from generation to generation, of course. But yeah, of course, by the end of it, it's clear. It's clear really, really quite early on. But by the end of it, I was so sure that, okay, this is 100%. I didn't have to be sure. They confirmed it. He's got this attack that's named Jupiter. And the visual imagery now, I think that's more symbolic, or maybe not. Maybe it's kind of like a, smaller scale version of it, in terms of the look, but it's more so about the sound aspect of it, right? But of course, that's essentially the official confirmation, isn't it? That indeed this is Gustav's Jupiter being sampled and incorporated, right? This arrangement of it, I loved it. The moment I kind of clocked it in the beginning stages, at first I'm like, oh, okay, maybe hold off. Maybe it's just really similar. That happens sometimes. But then as, the scene kind of plays out, it was beginning to feel like, oh, okay, this is too much of a coincidence now, right? And then it became really clear that, okay, this is Jupiter. And, Jupiter does happen to be one of my 3 favorites from that. The other 2 being Mars and Neptune. Listen, man, the first time I heard Neptune, I truly kind of felt like I had this out-of-body experience, by the end of it. By the time it finished, I just remember kind of being frozen in my seat, I think it was around high school. Yeah, maybe grade 9, grade 10. It's a stunning piece. It really is. So is Mars. All of them are. But of course, everyone's got, the ones they kind of gravitate towards, right? And for me, it's Jupiter, Neptune, and Mars, those 3. But yeah, as a whole, the music of this anime, right? The soundtrack of this anime, the original score, of course, it just continues to impress. And, this aspect of it, this element of it is just so impressive as well, that they are so open to it, to incorporating these classical pieces of music, iconic pieces of music, right? And the thing is, they're so thematically relevant as well. If you go back to episode 51, one of the greatest anime episodes of all time, right? And certainly one of the best of this anime. Like I said there, it's an inspired choice to use Requiem. And here, once again, it's an inspired choice, isn't it? Given how special and important, music is to, his fighting style and just his identity and his tribe. It's really quite the experience, going from not even kind of getting a word out of him back in the York New City arc, and just kind of being there, right, to this. This is a full-on deep dive, right? So, I see the reasoning for the bandages, of course, the gloves, the boxing gloves specifically, it's just, I don't know, a bit of a misdirect. It had nothing to do with boxing or him being a boxer. Though, at one point, I kind of felt that, okay, he is kind of rocking Muay Thai shorts, kind of, they kind of have a similar design. And the cuts on the sides and his initial movements or the dance that he's performing essentially at that point, to me, and, it's the reason I kind of had a reaction to it. To me, it almost kind of immediately felt like, something like from a, Muay Thai fight, pre-fight ritual, right? For those who know, So I thought maybe there is a little bit of inspiration there as well. It is battle. He is going into battle, and that is a ritual that's existed for a long time in real Muay Thai, right before the fights. So yeah, it's really engaging stuff for a character that's, up until this point, just kind of there. He actually felt like a bit of a tag along in the York New City arc. But ultimately, that just kind of came down to, time and who makes the most sense in that arc to be a focus, right? But of course, you see that Tagashi hasn't really, been lazy or anything, with some of these other members. He gets quite a bit of focus here. So, in that sense, perhaps the gloves do kind of make sense if it is kind of drawing, parallel to Muay Thai fighters, right? The pre-fight rituals and all of that. But, ultimately, sure, he can easily just hide those hands, with any other type of, glove. But I thought it was a really great showcase for Bonolenov. I really enjoyed that. But, not too far behind is Kaluto. I thought another fantastic showing, right? And it's going to continue into the next one, from the looks of it, into the next episode. I mean, some of these fights are being kind of, set up as cliffhangers, so they can be, I suppose, finished up in the next one. Listen, I'll be honest. I hope it goes beyond even the next episode. I could see a 3-episode little mini arc, Phantom Troop arc. Maybe they can finally address, or actually you could maybe even address that in the next episode. It doesn't need to really, leak into a 3rd episode, but, again, I'd happily take it. I mean, come on, it's a Phantom Troop. I love the Phantom Troop. I'll take any Phantom Troop content that I can get, even at this point. And listen, I'm sure there might have been, a lot of you that are not maybe the biggest fans of the Phantom Troop, and you didn't find this, little detour, all that interesting. Maybe it ended up being quite frustrating for many of you that, they did kind of go on this detour. But I think it's really quite effective, and it works in this, in this moment after the last episode's setup, right? This is something I've seen quite a bit in One Piece as well. But going back to Kaluto Zolovic, right, the newest member of the Phantom Troop, as I found out in Greed Island. And there in Greed Island, I got a glimpse of his tracking skills, right? And that's actually even hinted at back in the York New City arc. Illumi brought Kaluto to that, that secluded castle or hideout or HQ for all of those dawns, right? Kaluto played a part. Now, the thing is, in this episode, they've made it really quite clear that, one major aspect or a critical aspect of tracking, or Kaluto's brand of tracking, is, that confetti. Each one of the Phantom Troop members had that confetti on them. That one piece, of course, though I've seen what one piece can do, just one piece of confetti can do in more of an offensive approach as well, right? As I see the graceful Kaluto Zolovic really kind of flex his own capabilities. Kaluto knows Nen. That's a bit of a big deal, isn't it? Right? Because Killua does not know Nen, or did not know Nen, or Nen was kept from him up until a certain point, right? He had to learn it outside. So, at this point, it's not really crystal clear if Kaluto just recently also kind of started to learn Nen, and now he's got this, hold over it. I mean, listen, the way he's performing out there, it felt like he's quite the natural, right? That he's been at this for a long time. So, there's also a possibility that he was being taught Nen, back at the estate, just as part of his own training. So it doesn't mean that just because Killua didn't know Nen, that the other siblings didn't know Nen either. And like I said, during the episode, this is just Zolodic excellence on display. I mean, I just really enjoyed that scene, and, how Kaluto kind of applies his hold or his manipulation of these pieces of paper, or confetti rather, in different capacities. And I absolutely love that the Zolodic theme is present during that moment, during that scene, right? Because at the end of the day, this is a Zolodic that is a part of the Phantom Troop, right? At this point, I'm still pretty, not suspicious. Suspicious is not the right term, but I'm pretty sure there's so much more to it, right? This is a trained assassin from the Zoldyck clan, the best in the business, and one of their children is a part of the Phantom Troop right now, right? And there's history there as well. So yeah, that's always in the back of my mind. But yeah, let's see. Though, I'm not really sure if I'll be getting any more on that plot, that specific plot anytime soon. Once it kind of does move back to the final phase of the Chimera Ant arc, right? The encounters. So yeah, I'm definitely going to savor this, be it 2 episodes or 3 episodes. 4 feels like it might be too much, but maybe there's a possibility of 3 episodes. Because again, I'm not sure the next time I'll get any more Phantom Troop, right? I feel like after this, it's going to be a long stretch of just that component of this arc. The business end of this arc, essentially. But the thing is, the actual setup is really quite interesting, isn't it? Because you have members of the Phantom Troop going into Zazan's castle or palace, essentially. I mean, there's no resistance at all. That's the whole point of it, right? She's more than happy to have as many of them come in so they can have the chance to, make more of these soldiers, right? She's got a different approach to it. She developed a different approach from the looks of it because, again, like I said, she stabbed Pokol, right? And nothing like this happened. But again, it's really quite the trial by fire, isn't it? Because not all of them make it. And I see many of those rejects, I suppose, right, from Zazan's perspective, laid out, right? And you've got, I don't know, it's quite the contrast. The image I had of Meteor City up until this point, right, is of that, again, that garbage dump element of it, imagery of it. But there's this aspect as well. And, there's really interesting dynamics there. To me, it really felt like, okay, the Phantom Troop is a group that the people of this place, right, even higher ups actually kind of look to or kind of respect, right, in a sense. It's clear that the Phantom Troop has done quite a bit for that place, for Meteor City. But then there's a council as well, right? And you see Finks, he's not a fan of them because, he feels like they always kind of spend too much time on the wrong things and not getting to the point. He's more than happy to get to the point, to address the situation at the moment. And yeah, the Phantom Troop is more than happy to tackle the situation. But yeah, in terms of them going into Zazan's castle or palace, I mean, that's essentially how things are kind of shaping up for, the final phase of this arc as well, right? At this moment in time, Meruem and his 3 guards are at that castle, at that palace. But, the key difference being that, they have to draw them out of there, right? The 3 teams, the 3 pairs, they have to draw the 3 guards out of there. Again, it's a tough task. It's a tall order because, like I said, I don't think they'll just immediately engage. It's got to be something, I don't know, not enticing, maybe enticing as well, but something that, demands their attention, really truly demands their attention to get them out of there. Hell, I even got a glimpse of Haiga-sama, right? On television. I mean, on like a morning show or like a talk show. Really truly felt like, Cell, back in the Cell saga, right? Breaking into that studio and asking, nicely asking for, the broadcast area, the global broadcast. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that. Of course I enjoyed that. It's a Phantom Troop, right? You've got to savor it, man. You've really got to savor it. So I'm really quite excited for the follow-up as well. Because, I'll get to see Phaeton go up against Zazan herself. And of course, let's not forget Shizuku as well, right? Up against Pike. And then the continuation of Kabuto's encounter as well. So yeah, excited for that. But yeah, if you enjoyed this, consider dropping a like, consider dropping some comments, give me your thoughts. If you are interested in early access or timer-based full length or full opacity, consider checking out the Patreon page and potentially supporting the channel as well. In the process of doing that, the links are in the description and the pinned comment, also links to social media, if that's your thing. Right then, thank you so much for joining me, folks, and thank you for your time, because time is precious. It really is. And I do hope to see you again soon for the next one. Until then, take it easy.